Hi everyone, welcome back to Stamp with Anna, and today I have another card, excuse me, from a recent card class where the theme of the card class was Neutrals and Vellum. And this is the card we're going to make today, and here's the kit. I have all my pieces die cut because, like I said, it was a card class, and I do make an extra kit while I'm cutting everything up for my YouTube videos. So everything is cut up, but rest assured, I will certainly explain everything to you. So, to make this card, my card base is soft suede, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. To make my frame, I used the rectangle stitched dies, and this is how they come. These are carrying over, so I'm very happy about that. There are 13 dies in this set. You have this little stubby guy. You have some elongated rectangles, and you also have some normal rectangles. And they all nest beautifully. So what I did, I want to show you how it started out. I had a piece of 4 1/4 by 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 paper, and let's just pretend that this is this crumb cake. Then what I did is I picked 2 dies. They nest, so I could make my frame as wide or as thin as I wanted. And so I centered this. This is a way to save money. You could certainly save paper. You could certainly do it differently, but I'm going to show you how I did it to save a little bit of paper. So let's pretend, like I said, this is on my crumb cake paper. I set that up and I ran it through my Big Shot. And when it came out, so when they came through the Big Shot, this is what I have. This is what came out. This piece here, I'm going to use as my mat, and it, like I said, is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This piece here was made from the 2 dies. You'll see this is the outer die, the die for the larger die, and this is the smaller die. And then this is the piece that goes in the middle. I'm not using this in this project, but I'm certainly not going to get rid of that. I have a little box where I have all of these from the insides of my frames, and I'm going to use those as tags on a future project. So that's what we have for the inside of the card, for the base, the mat and the frame of the card. I also have a piece of Neutrals Designer Series paper. This is the pattern that's in the 2020 to 2021 collection, so this will be retiring in a couple weeks, but each year Stampin' Up! Does have a different set of patterns for each of its collections, but this wood grain one is not going to be available anymore after May 3rd. And this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a piece of Very Vanilla, which is going to go on the inside of my card. So first things first, we're going to start to put our card together. So I'm going to take this mat that I cut my frame out of. I'm going to bring in my silicone pad, and I'm going to turn my mat over. Now this is important. I'm going to use liquid glue, and the reason I say it's important is because I want to be able, because this is such a thin layer around it, I want to be able to move this around to be exactly where I want it to be on my card base. So I'm going to apply my liquid glue. I'm going to put it pretty close to the edge. And now I'm going to bring in my card base, and I'm going to center that on this. And it is a tiny, tiny border. And that's why I want the liquid glue, because it's going to help me reposition that to exactly where it needs to be. Okay? So there's that. Now we have this great big gaping hole in here, but that's okay. No one is going to see that, because what we're going to do is we're going to take that piece of wood grain designer series paper, and I'm going to attach some Stampin' Seal on it. And again, it's going to be a thin border. I probably could have used liquid glue for this too. I probably should have, but I didn't. So there it is. Now I have that there. And now, although I have that great big hole, nobody's going to see it. And I was able to save some paper, and I made my frame from it. Okay? So we're not going to put our frame together just yet. So I'm going to bring in my silicone pad, excuse me, and I'm going to take my frame and tip it over so that I'm looking at the back side of it. And then I have a piece of vellum. The vellum, I cut the vellum 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 so that it fits nicely into my frame. Okay, so again, I'm going to use liquid glue, and this time I'm going to put the liquid glue as close to the inner stitches as I can. And then I'm going to drop this in there and just shuffle it around, swish it around so that it is where I need it to be. Okay? Now the tree, look at the nice tree that sticks out on the back. I die cut that from the Retiring Sweet Silhouettes dies. This is only available until May 3rd, and then it's retiring. And this is a 5-piece set. You have a nice dandelion. Dandelion. You have the tree that we're going to use. And then you have 3 words: forever, adventure, and inspire. And those cut out beautifully. So here is my tree that I've already cut out. And I'm going to turn it backside over. So I'm going to see where I want this to land. Okay? And after you've adjusted it, you see where it's going to land. We're going to put a little bit of liquid glue along the tops and the sides. I'm going to lift this up, bring this down, and when we attach our tree, it's going to go right where the adhesive is. Okay, I'm going to do the same for the other 2 sides. I'm going to lift this up, apply my adhesive, and then press this down. And just a little bit more there, okay? Now, I chose to have my tree limbs be flush with the outside of my card. If you decided you didn't want them to stick out from the frame and you only wanted it here, at this point you would come in with your paper snips and you would trim this off. But because I want mine to stick out, I'm leaving it the way it is. And I'm going to take a little bit more liquid glue, and I'm going to put a tiny bit on my leaves, especially the ones that are sticking out. Some of them will be cut off because the tree is larger than my card base, but some of them will not be cut off. Okay, so right there, I want to make sure I keep that in there. Okay? So now everything is all adhered, well, affixed, it has the adhe. All right, so now I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to center this in the center of my card, and I'm going to press. Now remember, I put adhesive on the back of these branches here because I knew I wanted them to stick out. Okay, so there they are. They're nice and attached. And I'm going to press these down. If I need a little bit more glue, I can add that in. But I think I'm all set. So I'm going to bring in a pair of snips. And I'm going to turn my card over. And I'm just going to snip these off. On both sides. So now my tree is flush with the edge of my card. And like I said, if you see that these aren't adhered perfectly, because you do want to make sure that they don't lift when you put them in and out of the envelope, just come in with a little bit of liquid glue and press that down. And isn't that pretty? But we're not done yet. I die cut a cute little bird and the word thanks to attach here. Now, where did I get that? I got that from a retiring set. It was originally sold as a bundle. I'm going to push those off to the side. The stamp set is called Well Said, and it's a 2-piece stamp set. And it has great sentiments for the inside of your card. And I'm going to use this one here, thoughtful, kind, generous, that's you, because it's a thank you card. And then it has this set here that has all one single words. They work in conjunction with the well-written dies. Now, there are 24 dies in here. And on top of words, there is that cute little bird. There's some greenery, some filigrees, an ampersand, a heart, exclamation point, and whatnot. But the way these work, you can stamp, just simply stamp happy birthday, or mix these up and you'll make your own greetings. Or if you have the dies, you can stamp one word in the greeting and die cut the other one. So like for instance, here I have happy. I could die cut happy and stamp birthday beneath that. Or I could also do it the other way. I could stamp happy and die cut birthday. So part of my sentiment or my greeting is stamped and part of it is die cut. And it has a lot of different ways to change it about. You have welcome and baby. So you could do the welcome here and the baby here, or the welcome here and the baby here. And so that happy that you have in the die cut, you could also do happy retirement, happy anniversary, happy graduation, all different things. But they don't have to go together because everything that's here is here as well. But the stamps, like I said, I believe are still available and will be through the middle or the end of this month. The dies, I heard through the grapevine that they may have already sold out, but you can still get the stamp set. So back to our card. I have this thanks that I'm going to turn over. And with my trusty glue pen, I'm going to apply a little bit of adhesive. Strategically so that it's in the right spots and won't get snagged in my envelope. And I'm going to put that right down here. And I'm going to have this S come over onto my frame because I think that adds a nice touch there, a nice bit of interest. Okay. Now the last thing I need to do is attach my bird. And I'm going to do that with some Stampin' Dimensionals because I do want him to be raised a bit. So I'm going to use mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to turn them over and I put one right in the middle. And I'm going to put him in the tree. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do is I have a piece of Very Vanilla. I could probably use crumb cake because it's light enough, but I chose Very Vanilla. This is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And using the stamp that says thoughtful, kind, generous, that's you, I'm going to ink that up in soft suede. because that is the main color of my card here. I'm going to ink that up. And I'm going to drop that right in the center. Straight down, straight up. And now I'm going to attach that to the inside of my card. There we go. Isn't that pretty? It's a little bit, it looks like it took a long time, but it really didn't. It's just a little bit of extra die cutting and just positioning. But if you die cut this tree out because it's so detailed, I would definitely suggest or recommend the precision plate, because that will help you get all those little pieces out, those little pieces that are inside between the branches out better. But if you have any questions at all about this project or any of the products I've used, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. And if you do not have a demonstrator with whom you work, certainly contact me and I'll be glad to get a catalog in the mail to you. And while you're here, if you enjoyed this project, I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up. And if you would possibly subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get notified whenever I post a new video. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and I'll catch you back here with another project real soon.